What will happen when a woman faces an elephant everyone fears? What if she's not scared, but instead builds a bond so strong that even the angriest of elephants trusts her? This is the incredible story of Lara and her mission to change the lives of these majestic creatures forever. Keep watching to see how trust and love can work wonders. The story begins with a woman named Lara standing in front of a giant elephant. But this wasn't just any elephant. It was the one everyone feared. It was always angry. People stayed far away from it. No one ever dared to go near. But Lara stood calmly. She wasn't scared. She raised her hand and gently waved a cloth over the elephant's back to brush away some flies. People nearby stopped and stared. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Why wasn't the elephant angry? Why didn't it attack? Everyone waited, holding their breath. The elephant was strong enough to throw her across the field. But it didn't move. Instead, it slowly lay down right in front of her and closed its eyes. Lara knelt beside it and started humming a soft tune. The elephant let out a deep breath and fell asleep like a baby. The place went completely quiet. Only the sound of her voice and the elephant's soft snoring could be heard. It didn't feel real. It felt like something special, something no one could explain, but it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was trust. A bond built over many years, with care, patience, and love. To know how this all began, we need to go back to 1964, in a small village in Thailand. Lara was born in a small village surrounded by forests, rivers, and most importantly, elephants. These animals weren't just creatures in her village. They were part of the family. People respected them deeply and treated them with care, never seeing them as just animals. From a young age, Lara loved watching the elephants bathe in the river or eat the plants around the village. She didn't fear them like others might. She felt a deep connection to them. But as much as she loved her village, Lara's heart dreamed of something more. She was curious about the world beyond the forests and rivers. More than anything, she wanted to learn English. She believed that if she could speak the language, it would open doors for her, and maybe even help the elephants she loved so much. At 16, Lara made a bold decision. She worked hard, saved every bit of money, and left her family behind to study in the United States. Everything was new. The busy streets, the strange foods, and the loud noises. It was scary, but she didn't give up. Day after day, she studied hard. Slowly, the language that once seemed like a wall started to feel like a bridge. She made friends from all over the world and helped others communicate with each other. One day, everything changed. Lara saw a heartbreaking article online about elephants in Thailand being treated horribly. Her heart sank. She couldn't look away. These elephants, her elephants, were suffering, and it hurt more than anything. She immediately decided to go to Thailand. Her heart couldn't rest after seeing those pictures. Since she already spoke English well, she used that skill to get a job as a tour guide at an elephant trekking camp. She thought maybe this way, she could understand what was really going on. But what she saw hurt her deep. The elephants were not free like the ones in her village. They were poked with sharp sticks to make them obey. Some had cuts on their feet. Others just stood there, eyes full of sadness. They looked tired and scared. There was no happiness in them, no peace. In her village, elephants were treated like family, but here, they were treated like tools. She stood there, heart heavy, knowing this wasn't something she could ignore. She could have stayed in the US, lived a comfortable life, and moved on, but she didn't. Lara made a promise to herself. She would not walk away. She didn't have land or money, but she had love, and that was enough to begin. At first, Lara's biggest task was to find people who cared about elephants the way she did. She couldn't do it alone, but slowly she found a few kind hearts, and together they formed a small team. They started traveling across Thailand, looking for elephants that had been hurt, used, or forgotten. Some were forced to do tricks in circuses, some begged on the streets, and others were left behind because they were too old or sick. People often say if you truly want to help, the world will help you back. That's what happened to Lara. After months of asking and searching, she found a big piece of land in Chiang Mai. It had trees, fresh water, and quiet space, just like the forest she knew as a child. In 1996, she opened the Elephant Nature Park. When the first rescued elephants arrived, she cried. Some were blind, some were weak, but they were safe now. And though they couldn't speak, their eyes told their stories. And Lara listened to everyone. She knew healing wasn't just about food or medicine. It was about love, patience, and feeling safe. So, at her sanctuary, there were no chains, no shows, and no elephant rides, just care and kindness. Lara worked closely with vets and animal experts. She stayed beside the elephants, sang softly to them, and fed them by hand. At first, they were scared, but slowly, they started to trust her. Step by step, they felt safe again. As the years passed, her sanctuary grew. It became a peaceful home for more than 37 elephants. Some had been abused for years. Some had lost their families. But now, they had space to walk, clean water to drink, and people who truly cared. People from around the world began visiting. They heard stories of a woman who could calm even the angriest elephant with just a song. Some were amazed. Others couldn't believe it, but Lara didn't need to prove anything. One day, a group of visitors came to the elephant park. Some were excited. Others were just curious. A few didn't believe the stories they had heard. They wanted to see for themselves. How could one woman make elephants so calm? Lara was in the middle of the field, cleaning a wooden bench. She didn't notice the group at first. She was focused, as always. Then, from behind, a big elephant slowly walked up to her. The visitors stopped talking. Everyone watched closely. Lara didn't panic. She didn't even turn around. She simply smiled and kept wiping the bench. The elephant stood quietly, then turned slightly to show its back. Lara gently swung the cloth in her hand to brush away some flies. The crowd gasped. Some took a step back. Was the elephant going to get angry? Was she too close? But what happened next surprised them all. The elephant slowly lowered itself to the ground. It curled up beside her and closed its eyes. Lara didn't say anything. She just started humming a soft tune, like a lullaby. The only sounds were her voice and the elephant's soft breathing. Everyone was silent. They weren't looking at a trainer and an animal. They were seeing something deeper: trust. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't a performance. It was real. Some visitors wiped away tears. Others stood frozen. No one expected to feel something so strong. That moment changed many of them. Lara gently smiled when the elephant let out a tiny snore. She looked at it with pure love, like a mother watching her child sleep. From that day on, people saw elephants differently. They didn't want rides. They didn't want shows. They wanted to protect these animals. Many of those visitors later donated, volunteered, or shared Lara's story with the world, because that one quiet moment showed something powerful: what love, patience, and trust can truly do.